Hi guys, welcome back to Kelly and FA. I'm Kelly. I have a rare neuromuscular disorder called Friedreich's Ataxia. FA, which is much easier to say, affects my balance and coordination. So right now I need to use a walker to get around. You can kind of see it in the reflection of my mirror. I use a scooter for longer distances because I also get very, very fatigued. If you're new here and new to my channel, you might want to watch a few of my first videos where I go into depth about FA. I don't want to keep boring everyone with the same information over and over. But that is the gist. Today I want to talk a little bit about my story of my diagnosis with FA. I was 18 when I was diagnosed. I'm 27 now. And obviously it was a really rough time, really, really hard news to hear and to accept, and I really wish there was someone like me on social media at the time, because this is what I needed. I needed someone who could be honest but could also empower and show me that there was life beyond FA. So that is why I'm here today. That's why I have a YouTube channel, why I'm very active on social media, because I want to empower young women who are going through similar situations. I also want to educate about rare disease and living with the disability and raising awareness, and yeah. Lots of stuff, lots of reasons why I'm here, but the main one is because I remember 18-year-old Kelly and what she had to go through. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone else. About 3 years ago, I started a blog called MyDarlingLifeWithFA.com. It was a space where I kind of processed my feelings and thoughts and experiences out loud, and it also served as a way to reach family and friends, and then it started growing in the FA community, and now I haven't written anything for a while because I've been very focused on this channel, but there's a lot of stories about my life with FA, and one of the posts is titled "The Story of My FA Diagnosis," and basically I talk about the years leading up to my diagnosis and kind of some of my thoughts and feelings that were happening at that time. So if you would prefer to read this in a blog post, I'll link it below in the description. So I lived a pretty typical childhood. I was very active. I ran around the neighborhood with my friends and siblings and cousins. My family traveled. We went to many national parks, did challenging hikes. So I was never athletic, and I never enjoyed sports. I was always very, very girly and feminine, still am. Tried basketball, I wasn't really a fan. In middle school, I played volleyball. That one I liked a little bit more. I remember feeling like I had a hard time running and keeping up with everyone else. One time my coach mentioned to my parents, he was like, yeah, Kelly just seems really worn out after running. And at the time, my parents were like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not good. Well, keep an eye on it. They're probably thinking, oh, maybe she needs more sleep. Maybe she needs a better diet, whatever. There was one night of volleyball practice that I remember vividly. My team was being punished for something. I forget what for, but my coach had us running laps and laps and laps. I remember feeling so weak and tired, and I was young at the time. Looking back, I should have stood up for myself, but I didn't have the awareness at that age. And I remember there was one point where it kind of bubbled over and I lost control and I started crying a little bit, and then it turned into like sobbing, like heavy sobbing. So distressed. I like couldn't really breathe. I was having trouble breathing. And I just remember my coaches telling me I was fine. Keep running, you're fine. I remember one of my coaches waving her hand, being like, oh, she's fine. She just needs to control her breathing. And I think I internalized that. And basically, I thought I was doing something wrong. There was something wrong with me. And I needed to fix it. It was all my fault. So that was the start of kind of a pattern that would resurface over and over throughout the years. I'm weird, I'm doing something wrong, people are annoyed by me, and that was just the beginning. I didn't think about it too much, and then in high school, high school, there was a lot of instances that I look back and clearly it was FA. But at the time, like I said, I just thought I was weird, I was clumsy, I was uncoordinated. One thing I had trouble with was walking up and down stairs. I couldn't go at the same pace as a lot of my peers. So I got used to packing up after everyone else left class at the end of each period. So I wouldn't have to walk down the stairs at the same time as everyone else. I would have to strategically plan out my day because I might not have time to go to my locker in between classes if they were far away. So I would be like, okay, I need first, second, third, and fourth period books because I can't go to my locker until it's lunchtime or whatever the case may be. But looking back, this definitely should have raised a red flag. But like I said, I thought I was weird, I was clumsy, I was ashamed of that, and I never would have attributed it to a health issue. So another huge point of anxiety for me was the bleachers in the gym. I distinctly remember my freshman year having trouble on the bleachers. I would only sit in the first couple of rows. I wouldn't go up any higher. It made me super nervous and anxious, and I thought I was weird. It was a Catholic school, so we would have all school masses in the gym. And if you're Catholic, you know the communion procession where everyone processes up and down the aisles to get communion. It's in a single file line. There's music playing, but it's quiet. You're just watching everyone walk. That moment would give me so much anxiety. I couldn't handle it. I remember watching my classmates like just nonchalantly walking up and down bleachers and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? By the time senior year rolled around, I was having so much anxiety, and I told my parents about this anxiety, and they started to let me go into school late on the mornings that I knew we had all school mass, because I was a mess. I couldn't handle it. I didn't know what was wrong, and I would just cry. There were many other instances that caused a lot of anxiety, even if I wasn't fully aware of what was happening. Things like going to football games, going to school masses, walking up and down rows of desks to turn in a test would give me anxiety. Looking back, it's very, very evident that there was clearly something going on. My school, like many high schools, was very, very into sports. It was like extremely valued in our school community, and I never did sports, so I never truly felt like I belonged. I tried out for the tennis team. I think it was my junior year of high school, and it was so humiliating because everyone makes the team, and it was horrible because I didn't make it. I mean, now it's like, okay, well, he was discriminating against someone with a disability, but I didn't know I had a disability at the time, and he didn't know that, so it's not his fault. But it really, really hurt, like, so much. So I tried different things like physical therapy, tried a few rounds of physical therapy. I danced in high school, so not with the school, but I found a really awesome studio that allowed me to do jazz, ballet, ballroom, tried hip hop. I was never great, but I loved stretching and the movements, and looking back, I think it must have had a very positive effect on my body. Overall, I would like to think I had a typical high school experience, although I think I knew underneath it all, I knew there was something wrong. In May of 2011, right before high school graduation, we found out it was a neuromuscular disorder called Friedreich's Ataxia. And although I was overwhelmed and discouraged by this news, there was also this sense of relief that this all wasn't my fault. Like, I wasn't doing anything wrong. That shame had lifted. There was like a small sense of peace. For years now, my life was full of anxiety, full of confusion, and now I knew there's a reason behind it. It's okay that you're like this. I also didn't take the news well. I'll go into that in the future, but I instantly put my guard up. I didn't believe I was going to get worse. So I recently was a guest on my friend's podcast. It's called Better is Better. I'll link it below. But this was a friend of mine I went to high school with, and we kind of lost touch in college years, but then afterwards, kind of after I started putting my life out there with my rare disease, we reconnected and I went to visit her a couple of times in Los Angeles, and we went to Europe together last summer. We have a lot to share about our experiences with accessibility. It's going to be a great episode, so definitely take a listen. It was really interesting to hear from someone who had known me in high school and then years later see me with the walker and be shocked at the magnitude of what I was going through, and we thought it was a really cool reminder that you never know what someone else is going through. Thank you so much for listening. I would love to know if any of this resonated with you, or if you possibly had a similar experience. Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to hit subscribe so you stay up to date on all my videos. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.